What's good? What's good? It's the one and only, but what do I know? Boxing coming back at y'all with another one, man. So we got Josh Taylor in the news, man. All right, if you guys know my channel, man, I'm never one of those guys that hop off the bandwagon just because a fighter loses or whatnot. Unfortunately, in Josh Taylor's situation, this is not a fighter that just lost, but he's lost 3 consecutive fights, 3 in a row. From TO to Jack Catterall, which some people thought that he lost the first fight was Jack Catterall, but from TO to Jack Catterall to now this, I can't even remember the dude's name. Still a fan of Josh Taylor. I'm not gonna ever take that away from him. But you know, it's out there. It's out there now. Like, you know, the question is out there: should he retire? All right, should he retire? I'm gonna go ahead and get into the article, and I'm gonna give you my opinion. All right, so shout out to the Boxing News. It says Josh Taylor needs to take some time out. Josh Taylor's homecoming ended in a heartbreak on Saturday night in Glasgow. He dropped a 12-round decision to Echo Usman, marking his 3rd consecutive loss and casting fresh doubts over his future in the sport. The 34-year-old undisputed super lightweight champion moved up to 147 pounds, hoping to reignite his career, but instead found himself outworked and outpointed by a hungry and overlooked challenger. Usman delivered the upset of the night and possibly one of the biggest of 2025 so far. Speaking to British board, whatever the other party is, Scotland, I just didn't feel comfortable saying speaking. Anyways, Taylor admitted the toll the loss has taken. I'm going to take a little bit of time just to think about what's coming, he said. I'll just relax for a couple of weeks and not make any hasty decisions. If I really feel like I'm not performing, I'll hang them up. Once a pound-for-pound staple and the only Briton to become undisputed champion in the Fort Bell era, Taylor now faced the harsh reality of age, ring wear, and declining momentum. 3 back-to-back defeats. I took it quite tough, he said. He added, if I'm going to keep going, I need to get more active and get out at least a couple of times a year. Taylor has not looked his best in over 3 years, and while the fight has remained compelling, the results have not. As speculation swirls about whether this was his last stand, the Tartan Tornado remains committal, wounded, but not quite ready to close curtains. So, you know, shout out to Josh Taylor though, but let's talk about it, man. Now listen, all right. If you guys, I keep saying that, but if you guys follow my channel, you guys know, I'm not one that, I really hate when people, normally in a normal situation, when a fighter loses and somebody says, oh, they need to retire, like, I don't like when people do that, because it's like, dude, come on, bro. It's just, this is the problem. This is why fighters don't want to fight other tough fighters now, because then they lose and you guys write them off. But in this situation, losing 3 fights in a row, one has to wonder, like, how much more do you have, right? And that's a fair assessment to make. You know, it's not, you know, you lose 1 fight, it's like, shit happens, all right? You lost, it happens, all right? But let's get back on the winning train and you know, keep going, right? You lose 2 fights and it's like, I mean, they're back to back, like 2 fights back to back. You know, it ain't like it's a situation where, like Lomachenko, he loses to Orlando Salido, and then comes back and doesn't lose again until Teofimo Lopez, and then comes back and then doesn't lose again until Devin Haney, right? It's not a situation like that. And then one can argue that Lomachenko won all 3 of those fights. You know what I'm saying? In this situation, Jack Catterall has been beaten decisively by, or at least 2 out of 3 of those opponents. His last fight could have went to him, in my opinion, but it didn't. Does he look like a shot fighter? I don't think he looks shot. I think that maybe his reign at the top has come to an end, but I don't think he looks like a shot fighter. What does a shot fighter look like, you might ask? Okay, go and watch Danny Jacobs versus Shane Mosley Jr. That is the pure definition of what a shot fighter looks like. A fighter that is just, you know, on anybody and their mama knows that a prime Danny Jacobs wouldn't even be in there with a guy like Shane Mosley Jr. But Danny Jacobs in that fight looked so shot that it was just, he had to retire after that. That's what a shot fighter looks like. All right. I don't think Josh Taylor looked shot in this fight. All right. Josh Taylor has come off of, one of the best runs in recent boxing, in my opinion. And I can go over the names and their record. All right, so let's look at his record. Let's go to his BoxRec. Shout out to BoxRec. He has the record of 19-3, never been knocked out, 13 knockouts. So that's a plus right now. If he had got knocked out all 3 times, then it's definitely a wrap. Like, he got to stop for a minute. Like, I remember Jermaine Taylor had that issue where, he got stopped by Kelly Pavlik. Then, won a few fights afterwards. I think he fought Kelly Pavlik. I think he won. He lost to Kelly Pavlik. Who did he fight after that? Jeff Lacey? Was it Jeff Lacey? I think he fought Jeff Lacey and then got the Carl Froch, got knocked out by Carl Froch in a fight that he was winning in the last 14 seconds of the fight, and then turned around and got knocked out by Arthur Abraham. So in situations like that, you definitely got to you got to at least take a few years off of the sport or whatnot. But luckily for Josh Taylor, he's never been knocked out. Both of their last names Taylor. That's funny. But anyways, one of the best runs in my opinion, bro. This dude, he fought Hari Davies or whatnot. Nobody likes Hari Davies, so he was able to shut dude up. He fought Miguel Vasquez or whatnot. But then this is where the run starts at. Because he fought this dude, Winston Campos. I don't know who that is. But those are 2 good names, though. Hari Davies and Miguel Vasquez. That's those 2 good names, right? But this is where the run starts at. You got Victor Postal, all right, 29-1. You got Ryan Martin, 22-0. Ivan Baranchyk, 19-0. Regis Prograis, 24-0. I don't know this. The Pinan Song. I don't know this dude now. 16-0. Jose Ramirez, 26-0. Jack Catterall, 26-0. Like, if you add all those up, that's a good, 90. I don't even know, 80, 70, 80, something like that in one. Like, that's dude had a good run and then a 6 undefeated fighter streak. Like, you know what I'm saying? And then on top of that became undisputed at 140 pounds. Now, I will say this, I believe both were under top rank at one particular time. I believe that he was under top rank at one particular time. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. But I thought that at one particular moment, they were going to bring him up to 147 to fight Terence Crawford. Now, I always had this feeling that Josh Taylor wanted no parts of, Jermaine Taylor. Josh Taylor wanted no parts of Terence Crawford. He just didn't. I could tell by how when they would bring him up, how his mannerism was, like how Josh Taylor is a very confident guy. Some may even say cocky, but he's just a very confident guy. Southpaw, knows how to fight, knows how to use his distance, kind of rangy or whatnot, but very, very hittable though. Definitely against another southpaw, he's able to be hit with the left hand. It's hard for him to get away from the backhand. But anyways, when they would bring up Terence Crawford, he just did not really have that confidence. That look wasn't there when they would bring up Terence Crawford. I could just tell he did not want no parts of Terence Crawford or whatever. But that's the route that I thought that they were going, because Terence Crawford had the WBO title, and everybody kind of knows that WBO has a good relationship with Top Rank. And then obviously, like, they have that rule implied that, any champion that moves up to a weight class that had the WBO in the weight class below automatically gets a shot at the title above. And for me, this is just my opinion, I feel like that's why Josh Taylor stayed at 140 for so long, because I just don't think he wanted any parts of Terence Crawford. And rightfully so. I think Terence Crawford would have stopped Josh Taylor. But regardless, so he stayed there, and then, he fights Teofimo, and Teofimo, really, beat dude. Like, it was just not even close. So, it is what it is. Now, do I think that he needs to retire? That's up to him. I'm not sure if he needs to retire. I'm gonna make this clear. I don't see him ever becoming a top guy. Because even at 147, I mean, I think him versus Mario Barrios would be a good fight though. Maybe if he can, you know, get some wins under his belt. But I don't see him even beating somebody like Brian Norman. I damn sure don't see him beating Jaron Ennis. And then you got Teofimo moving up there. We saw what happened in that fight. You got Devin Haney moving up. Like, I don't see him becoming a champion at 147 unless if he fights for a vacant title. And even at that point, he'll still have to win fights in order to get a shot like that. So I don't know, man. I can see him. I can see him becoming a Hall of Famer, though. I mean, the dude won. He became undisputed. And in my books, you know, normally I would say like I would rather a fighter, you know, get champions in multiple weight classes. But if you become undisputed, that's more than enough to me to be a Hall of Famer. So I can see him becoming a Hall of Famer. But I don't see him becoming a two-division champion. Not right now, at least. Maybe and welterweight's not even a stacked division, but you know, maybe once the smoke clears with Jaron Ennis and Brian Norman, maybe. But that's just my take on it. What do you guys think? Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe. Do you think Josh Taylor needs to retire? But what do I know?